Could the Trump era be opening a new chapter in space warfare? As fresh details emerge about a US Navy test involving plasma and high-altitude military technology, new details are shedding light on a mysterious US military test conducted at extreme altitude, raising fresh questions about what the Pentagon may be trying to achieve in the upper atmosphere and beyond. In a startling experiment, the US Navy reportedly vaporized metal at extreme altitude to generate a powerful plasma field. But what was the military actually trying to learn from the experiment? A rocket was detonated at an altitude of roughly 539 kilometers as part of an experiment designed to study how explosive energy could be converted and measured under the unique conditions of near space. As Trump's Golden Dome vision pushes space-based defense further into the spotlight, the US is testing technologies that could potentially reshape how future threats are detected, tracked, and countered. Plasma, rockets, and controlled explosions are coming together in an unusual military experiment that could offer a glimpse into technologies being studied for the wars of the future. Could advances in plasma technology eventually give the Pentagon new capabilities for future warfare, turning experiments in the upper atmosphere into a potential foundation for the next generation of military systems? New details have emerged about a previously little-known US Navy plasma experiment conducted high above the Pacific Ocean, revealing more about the unusual scientific mission and its objectives. The US Navy deliberately vaporized several pounds of barium metal high above the Pacific Ocean as part of an experiment designed to study how matter behaves under extreme atmospheric conditions. The experiment created an artificial plasma field in Earth's upper atmosphere, allowing scientists to observe and measure the behavior of electrically charged particles in a region that is difficult to reproduce in laboratories. The February 12th test was conducted by the US Navy's White Sands Detachment, which launched the mission from the remote Pacific outpost of Wake Island as part of a specialized scientific flight. The mission also marked the unit's first flight of a 4-stage sounding rocket, representing an important milestone in its efforts to conduct experiments at extreme altitudes above Earth. The rocket, named Oriole IV, carried 2 scientific payloads and climbed to approximately 539 kilometers above Earth, placing the experiment deep within the upper reaches of the atmosphere. That altitude placed the test in the same general region of space where many orbiting satellites operate, making the experiment particularly relevant to understanding plasma conditions around spacecraft. A shaped charge was used to vaporize the barium metal, creating a rapidly expanding cloud of electrically charged particles that formed the artificial plasma for the experiment. A second scientific payload then measured the electromagnetic effects produced by the artificial plasma, giving researchers data on how the charged particle cloud interacted with its surrounding environment. According to the US Navy, the experiment was designed to test theories of plasma physics beyond conventional laboratory conditions, allowing researchers to study these complex effects in an actual space environment. Jay Brewer, the senior test director at White Sands Detachment, said, and I quote, "At the end of the day, we are proving theories that will lead to delivering capabilities for our warfighters." Unquote. The SMART mission was managed by the US Naval Research Laboratory, which oversaw the scientific effort and the specialized research designed to investigate plasma behavior high above Earth. The SMART project stands for Space Measurement of a Rocket Release Turbulence, a mission name describing its goal of studying disturbances and plasma activity created by a rocket-released material in space. The test studied how electrostatic lower hybrid waves can develop and transform into electromagnetic Whistler waves, providing researchers with an opportunity to examine how different types of plasma waves interact and evolve. This phenomenon was studied in the ionosphere, Earth's electrically charged upper atmosphere, where charged particles and electromagnetic fields create a complex environment for studying plasma physics under natural conditions. The US Navy says the research could eventually lead to practical capabilities for military forces, potentially improving the understanding of plasma effects and electromagnetic phenomena that could have applications beyond basic scientific research. The Wake Island mission was carried out by Oriole IV rocket, which was powered by 4 separate rocket motors. The 4 rocket motors were named Talos, Terrier, Oriole, and Nika, working together in a multi-stage configuration. Standing approximately 20.7 meters, or 68 feet, tall, the Oriole IV was an imposing vehicle that required extensive preparation and specialized equipment to launch safely. The rocket was the largest sounding rocket ever operated by US Navy's White Sands Detachment. 8 Navy personnel spent 7 weeks preparing for the operation on remote Wake Island. In total, 42 people joined the expedition, bringing together the personnel, specialists, and technical expertise. The expedition included personnel from the US Navy and NASA, along with experts from universities. Because Wake Island had almost no suitable facilities for a mission of this scale, the team effectively had to build the launch infrastructure from scratch. Launch control was established inside an abandoned garage on the island. Starlink terminals were also brought in to provide internet connectivity, giving the expedition team a reliable communications link. 3 C-17 transport aircraft were used to move personnel and equipment to Wake Island. The C-17 aircrafts transported the rocket ordnance from New Mexico to the remote island. The capabilities demonstrated by this research could eventually support work connected to President Trump's Golden Dome for America missile defense initiative. This comes as the Pentagon pushes expanded research and development in directed energy weapons and advanced interceptor technologies that could provide protection against increasingly sophisticated missile threats. Donald Trump ordered the Pentagon in January to begin developing a new missile defense system that would extend U.S. defensive capabilities into space. Trump promised that the system could achieve a nearly 100% success rate that would reduce or potentially eliminate the threat posed by incoming missiles against America. Trump named the proposed system Golden Dome, drawing a comparison with Israel's Iron Dome missile defense system, but envisioning a much larger U architecture designed to operate on a global scale and cover a far broader range of threats. The president said Golden Dome would be completed by the end of his term, with the initial estimated cost placed at around $175 billion. However, the Washington Post reported that building such an extensive missile defense network could take as long as a decade while also requiring substantially more funding than the initial estimate. Experts have estimated that the full cost of Golden Dome could reach at least $1 trillion, with some projections placing the potential price as high as $3.6 trillion. Trump appointed General Michael Getline to lead the development of Golden Dome in May, putting him in charge of one of the technically challenging defense initiatives. Major defense contractors including Lockheed Martin, Booz Allen, and L3Harris are competing for contracts connected to the project. At the same time, major technology companies including SpaceX, Palantir, and Anduril have been invited to participate. The Congressional Budget Office estimates that deploying the proposed system could cost approximately $542 billion over a 20-year period. Experts have argued that such an investment could initially provide enough capability to counter only 1 or 2 rogue missile launches. Defense analysts have also estimated that Golden Dome could require roughly 950 interceptors simply to counter a single missile launch. The American Physical Society has estimated that countering a salvo of just 10 intercontinental ballistic missiles could require at least 16,000 interceptors. Todd Harrison of the American Enterprise Institute has estimated that a fully developed system could ultimately cost as much as $3.6 trillion, while still potentially falling short of providing the level of protection envisioned by its proponents. Todd Harrison said, and I quote, "He bounded the initiative in such a way that it's impossible to meet all those expectations. They just don't add up." Michael Getline now has to figure out how close he can come. The question is, where do you let the president down? It would take about 950 interceptors spread out in orbit to ensure that at least one is always in range to intercept a missile during its boost phase. You need so many more interceptors than missiles, it becomes operationally impractical. Unquote.
Upgrade your news experience with the all-new HT app. Download now.